just want to say morning to everyone and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, Sorry, every year I think I'm going to be fine. It's been 14 years since I've said goodbye to my mom. And every year it creeps back up on me. So excuse for the tears. Today, in aid of Mother's Day, I just wanted to share about my journey of becoming a mother, what I went through and what we are still currently going through and as a family. As a young girl, I grew up with my grandparents, and my grandfather believed that the church is a place for the child. So we used to go to church on a Sunday morning, and the afternoon was Sunday school, and the evening was church again. On a Wednesday was prayer meeting. My grandfather didn't believe children must be at home. Prayer meeting, we needed to be there. On a Thursday was Sunshine Club. On a Wednesday, on a Saturday, we would go with him to church in the morning to go and clean the church, or the church on Sunday. Sunday mornings, we would be in church to put the little hymn books in place for everyone and make sure that everything was in place. So I grew up pretty much in church my whole life. Then I moved to Atlantis when I was 15. And but before that, when I was 13, I gave my heart to the Lord on a youth camp. Didn't know what it really meant, but there I was giving my heart to the Lord at the age of 13. And my grandfather taught us that he didn't tell us that Christianity is a religion. He basically taught us that we need to have a relationship with God. Very young. So we knew that going to church and doing the singing and doing the little things that goes with being a Christian wasn't as important as actually having your own relationship with God. He always taught us that that was our responsibility. As kids, he can only take us to church, he can only teach us what he can, and the pastor would teach us what they could, but at the end of the day, your spiritual life and your relationship with God is your responsibility. You are going to answer for your own life. And we were young, and as young as we were, we actually understood what that meant. We always knew that was our responsibility. And as a mother, I tried to carry that on to my kids. I tell them, I can bring you to church, I can send you to youth, I can do all these things, but at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to have a relationship with God. Not my responsibility, your responsibility. Just as you speak to me as your mother and you speak to Gunther as your father, you need to speak to God. He is real and He is there. So that's what I teach my kids. That's something that I've always taught them as young as they were, even though I know sometimes they didn't understand me. But Zach is 13 today, and I'm sure it's stuck with him. So one day when he's my age, he'll also look back and also remember that that is something that I taught him, because that was taught to me from my grandparent. So, starting to feel a little bit more calm. My heart is beating so hard in my chest. If I put the mic closer, you guys will be able to hear how my heart is beating. And then I came to Atlantis. I was 15 years old. I was a teenager. I was very rebellious. You can ask my father. He would always call Pastor William to come and talk to me because he didn't know what was going on. I was always this quiet little girl, and here I'm now going out of order now. Not in a bad way, but just backtracking and the normal teenager drama. That went on for a few years, and then I met Gunther, and we were dating, and then I was 22 years old, I remember, and we found out that my mom wasn't doing too well. She had like some strokes and things in on the Wednesday, and the Sunday my mom passed away. So that was a big shock for our family. I was only 22 years old at the time, and we didn't understand what that meant for our family. We were still a very young family, and she was only 40. So we were like, that's so unfair. Why is God doing this to our family? And we didn't understand. And then I was I had so much questions of God, and I was like, it's not fair. And looking at other parents and with their kids and stuff, I just felt like it's not fair. Um, and then, as if that wasn't a big shock, a few weeks after that, I find out that I'm pregnant. So now, I'm sitting with this stress ball that my mom just passed away, and now I'm pregnant. I can't tell my dad. How do you tell your parents? How do you tell your father? And the rest of the world that you now pregnant, because that's gonna, like, it just wasn't ideal to do that at the time. And I think I was in shock with my mom's death, and then finding out I was pregnant was even a bigger shock for me, because I just lost my mom and now I'm gonna become a mom. And then me and Gunther decided we're not telling anybody anything because everyone is still crying with my mom's death, and here we still have to deal with this baby growing. And I think I was 3 months pregnant, and then myself and Gunther, we decided we need to go and get a checkup done, but everything was done so secretively because we didn't want my daddy to know. So my father was very strict, and I was like, yeah, I can't imagine telling him now the disappointment and what will people think and what's people going to say. And I'm still crying about my mom, and now this is another scandal, and I was just traumatized. And I had very bad anxiety, and I was suffering very badly with anxiety and depression. But nobody knew what was going on. Everyone just thought it's because of my mom that passed away. Meanwhile, it's because I'm now pregnant as well. And both of us are still young. And Gunther's mother was, we said we're never going to tell her. Even after the baby's born, we're not even going to mention anything of a baby. That was how, like, he was like, no, we can't even tell my mother anything. Anyways, we went to the doctor on our own, and the doctor did some scans and stuff, and the doctor said to me that his advice that he gave us was that we need to have an abortion done with Zach. And I was like, how can my father doesn't even know I'm pregnant, and nobody knows I'm pregnant. How can this doctor tell me that I need to have an abortion with Zach? And he showed us the scans, and Zach looked very deformed on the scans. He said to us, this child is going to be a paraplegic, he won't be able to walk, he won't be able to see, he won't be able to do anything. And between the two of us, we had to make a decision. So very early on in my motherhood journey, I was faced with a decision. Am I going to abort this baby and just pretend as if nothing happened and go on with my life, because I'm not married? And we just had this trauma, and my dad doesn't know, and nobody knows, and we can just sweep this under the mat, and it will be fine, nobody will know. And this is even the advice the doctor gave us. He said to us, look, nobody knows you're pregnant, you can just get rid of the baby and it will be fine. And we went home from there, and the two of us, we went to the park, and then we had a discussion. I was like, what do we do? Because he says now the baby's deformed, abnormal, the baby's not gonna be a normal child. And then we decided no. I said to him, look, my values growing up, being in church, being a Christian, I know that there's no way that I can abort this baby. There's just no way. We already went about things the wrong way. So to correct this, we just need to own up, tell our parents, and then we need to make a decision what we're going to do. But we already said no abortions, whatever the child is crippled or whatever, that is what God has decided for us, and that will be our child. Anyways, we went through with the pregnancy. We told my dad eventually. He was in so much shock. The first thing he said was, but Gunther can't count till 10. I was like, well, what does that have to do with anything? We showed him the scans, and he was like, no, this is fake. This is fake. I'm like, Daddy, but my name is on the stuff. There's like Zita is on there. That's my baby. And my dad's like, no, I need to breathe. I'm going for a walk. And me and Gunter's looking at each other. I'm like, my daddy says you can't count till 10. That must not be so bad. So we still have to tell his mom, but he's like, no, he's not here. Anyway, so I'm 5 months pregnant when we eventually tell my daddy. And then nothing was showing. Nobody could see anything. Eventually, after I told my dad, the next day when I came out of the room, my father's like, yesterday you weren't pregnant, today your stomach is, I was like, I don't know. He's like, you just told me yesterday and now there's a big stomach, where did this baby come from? I'm like, I don't know, you must stop hiding things. I was like, yes, so now that my stomach was showing. Eventually, and then we went through all these tests and things, and to God, and very early on I had to trust God, and I said to God, look, whatever baby you give us, we'll be happy. We will do the best that we can with the situation, but we trust Him for a healthy boy. And then Zach was born on the day that they said he was going to be born, because I couldn't sleep, because they said the 29th of April, and I was lying awake, and then Zach was born on the 29th of April. He was born. When he was born, the nurses all looked at me, and I looked at them, and I was like, I just knew something's wrong with him in my mind, because the way they were looking at me. When Zach was born, he was all squashed up, and his foot was flat, and his half of his face was squashed flat, and the eyes wasn't like it's supposed to be, so the one eye was in the corner, and I remember Kunta coming in to see the baby for the first time, and he picks him up, and I said to him, you can say something's wrong, because he wasn't saying anything, he just picked the baby up and he was holding the baby, and I was like, you can say something's wrong with the baby. And he said to me, he's perfect, he's beautiful. And then I was crying, because as a mother, you are so stressed out, you only want the best for your kids. And I didn't even know what being a mother was, but at that moment, I felt almost like I did something wrong, because now something's wrong with Zach, because he looked deformed and something was not right there. And then Kunta said, no, there's nothing wrong with the child. And I was like, are you sure? Did you look properly? I even told him, did you look properly? He said, yes, you look properly, there's nothing wrong with Zach. And he said no. After 3 days, we take him for the checkup. Took him for his checkup. And the doctor, they said to me that, Mommy, this child will never be able to walk, and he won't be able to see. And I really just accepted it. I was like, okay. Before the child was born, the other doctor said that he was going to be abnormal, and now he was born, he looks abnormal. And now this doctor doing the last check, the 3-day checkup on him, is saying everything that they said. And I was like, we really trusted God for a normal baby. And Kunta still says, no, nothing's wrong with the child. And I'm upset with him. I'm like, are you stupid now? Because you can clearly see something is wrong. And he's like, no, nothing's wrong. And then at the time I wasn't working, he was working 2 jobs, because he knew he's going to be a father, so he was looking for another job. He was working at Vodacom at another job, because he was telling me the nappies is going to be so expensive. I was like, your mommy don't even know we're pregnant, and you're already talking about nappies, looking for more work and stuff. Anyways, and then he said to me, now we're taking Zach for a second opinion to a pediatrician. We went to the pediatrician. The pediatrician didn't even look at the child. He just like barely looked at him, and he asked me, Mommy, what's wrong with the child? And I'm explaining all this stuff to him. And he asks Kunta, Daddy, so what do you think's wrong with the child? And he says to the doctor, there's absolutely nothing wrong with my child. And the pediatrician was smiling. And then he now did this test on Zach and pulled his legs and whatever he needed to do. And he looked at me and he said to me, your husband is very, very confident that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the child. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong with him, doctor, but he believes there's absolutely nothing wrong with the child, and the child is not, like they say that I can't skill this or whatever, and I can't not be. He said to me, no, Mommy, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the child. And I looked at the doctor and was like, you also not right in your head. Now I'm upset because we spent money and this doctor is saying nothing is wrong. He says to me, as a mommy now, you have a very important task to do. I know you're young, and I know you have been through a lot, and I know you guys are like new parents and everything, but your job for the next 2 months as a new mom is to mold this baby with your hands. You don't give this baby to anyone. You turn this baby every 5 minutes. You rub this baby's foot, and it looks as if he can't walk. His foot was flat against his leg. The pediatrician said to me, it's your job to do this. If you don't do this, then you're going to have a child that has all this X, Y, and Z problems. And so for the next 2 months, I took my job very seriously. You guys can look at my son today. He's 13 years old. He's got perfect symmetry. He is a miracle walking there. So the pediatrician explained to me that The reason why Zach looked the way he looked in my stomach was because my womb was very abnormally small. It wasn't able to carry a normal baby. But Zach was born with a touch of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which makes him double jointed in all of his joints, which allowed him to fit into my little womb. And he was lying in all those awkward positions, but he fit in there because he was double jointed. If he wasn't double jointed and he was a normal child with no double jointed, he didn't have double joints, he would have been crippled. But just look how amazing God is. We thought it was something bad in the beginning, but it actually turned out to be a blessing. Because if my son wasn't born that way, he wasn't born with this double joints, he would have never fit in there, and he would have been crippled, and he would have been all those things that the doctors thought he was. And then for the next 2 months, I was rubbing him. I didn't give him to anyone. I just took my job as a mom very seriously. And today he's fine. He academically does excellent. He's normal. You can have a look at him. he's 13 years old today. So I've been a mom for 13 years. My mother, the journey of being a mother has been very tough because, as I said earlier on, it started off on a rough note. Today I can only reap blessings. I still have a long way to go with my kids. They are still young. So I've got a 13-year-old. I've got a 10-year-old, soon to be 10-year-old, and I've got a little 4-year-old that is very feisty. But so I've got a teenager, toddler, and a young lady in my house. They are driving us crazy. We have been going grey. In the last year, I said to Gunther, we are grey now. These kids are driving us crazy. What's going on? We are still, and I tell him, we are still so young. What were we thinking of having 3 kids like that? And he's like, you don't know, but you can see me very grey. He's more grey than me. I said, every time the kids go on, I'm like, guys, you're going to give your daddy high blood pressure. And I was like, get the blood pressure machine. The way Sia and Zara can go on with their dad. I was like, just get the blood pressure machine. Because kids can really test you. And you can think you are ready for this, but then they just come around the next corner and they just test you again. I think they are there to help us build our character. Because the kids that God gave us, like sometimes you will just sit there and just look at them and just think, oh, what did I do so bad in life that this child is going on like this? And me and Gunda both look at each other and like, no, it's your family, it's not my family. Going on like this. But that is your bloodline going on like that. So that's how we cope with it in that way. Like I will always tease and I'll say, no, you can see now that's Mary now. When Zara goes on, I was like, that's Mary, that's not my family. My mom wasn't like that. And then Gunther will say, no, but that's not my mother, that's you. And I'm like, no, I'm not like your mom. But then, guys, so we had our 3 kids, and then I just wanted to share with you, then COVID came. And both of us were working, and everything was fine. And we were both working from home because it was crazy at the time. Everyone had to work from home and all this restrictions and stuff. And then Gunther was having a hard time working from home with the type of work that he had because he had to be on the phone all the time. And imagine having 3 kids in the house, going crazy, and he has to be in meetings. And then he said to me, look here, I stand a chance of losing my job if it continues like this, because he can't aux in for meetings because the kids are making too much noise and that type of thing. And eventually I decided, okay, I'm going to leave my job to be at home to just help monitor the situation so that he doesn't get into trouble at work or he can still work effectively. So I leave my job in the beginning of February to be at home with the kids because here was one and the creches and everything was still closed. And the kids were going one day on and one day off to school. And then that helped. It was going much better because then I was there to like just tell them, shh, that isn't a meeting now. And then eventually things was okay because Gunther was earning a good salary and we were fine. And he said to me, no, it's fine, we'll cope, we're fine, we're not going anywhere, we're just in the house, we just buy the food that we need and whatever we need. So we was fine working alone. And then something really horrible happened. In May month, they laid him off from work. So now I'm at home, Gunther's at home, and our kids are at home with us. So how do you handle telling them now that, Mommy, because now they're asking questions, why is Daddy not working, what's going on? And in the beginning things was fine because we still had a little bit of cash flow coming in and that. But then eventually that just came to a total stop. And then both of us were in shock. We're like, we have 3 kids. Both of us are not working. We're unemployed financially. This is not working out. And then again, as a mother, I was tested because how am I going to react now to this? What is my attitude going to be? Am I going to be grumpy? Am I going to be miserable? Am I going to be upset? Because my kids are watching us like hawks. They are very intelligent. They watch you like hawks. You can talk in whatever language. They will decipher that language and they know exactly what's going on in the house. So you can try to hide things from them. They know. My kids, they know. So Zach and Zara, eventually they were doing little things. They were like, Mommy, are you okay? And Daddy, okay? At night I used to cry. Every night I was crying. I was like, God, but Gunther's got experience. I've got experience. In the beginning I said to him, you know what, it's fine. You've got a good CV. I've got a good CV. One of us will find a job. That was my motivation to him. He mustn't worry, he mustn't give up, and he mustn't give in. Because I thought to myself, if my husband is not going to be positive, then what's going to happen to our family? What's going to happen? Because if he is going to break down and start losing his confidence as a man, and you know, they need to have they need to feel good and they need to feel they are providing for your family. So I thought, no, I can't be the one laying down. So I had to be the comedian in the time. I had to be the one motivating him, encouraging him, praying for my husband, praying for my kids, because our son is looking at him and looking at what he is reflecting, and I constantly had to remind Gunther, they are watching us. And the food cupboard started getting empty and things was just not going good because we had no income. When I tell people we had no income, we had no rand coming in. No rand. Between the 2 of us, and we had 3 kids that we needed to feed. And I said to him, it's just going to be a few months, we're going to be fine. Pastor then reached out to us and said they heard that the 2 of us are not working, and we said yes, and then we got some food aid from the church during the time, and nobody even knew what was going on because I said to Gunther, I can't walk around crying in front of the kids and be sad, because we need to show them that when things are going good, you need to trust in God. When things are going bad, you also still need to trust in God. I can't now break down and be miserable and cry and just expect things to go good with me all the time. Yesterday I had questions. We questioned God, what's happening? Why is He allowing this? Why must we starve? Why must we ask people for help? Why? We will find all along, why must we do this? And then we thought, okay, it's just going to be a few months. And then it almost went on for 2 years. For 2 years. Today I'm standing here, guys. I can tell you, I don't know how we got through that time. I don't know. But God was there every step of the way. Every step of the way God was there. Because imagine for 2 years not having income. And we thought something was wrong with us. We sent out hundreds of CVs. Nothing was working. And we're like, something's wrong, because is it the economy now or what's happening? And eventually I felt like I was busy going mad, because like the kids look to you as the mother. Mommy, I'm hungry, what am I going to eat? What do you tell your child at that time? You can't tell the child to drink water or just pray, you're going to be fine. The children don't understand that. They want food, they are hungry, they want food. So I used to cry, I did all the crying, and I just tried to keep my husband motivated. No, don't worry. This is just a test. So today I just want to encourage everyone that we can't only expect things to go good with us. As mothers, even as fathers, we're going to come across challenges. And just when you think the one is finished, another one sticks his head out. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's there to build our character. And God loves us so much that He won't leave us the way He found us. He will work on us. He will give us tasks to do, because He wants us to be perfect for Him. He wants us to rely only on Him. And I think we were relying too much on our salaries, on jobs. We were doing everything to impress the bosses and the things, because We thought that that was where our income was coming from. It's not, it's from God. So God started, even though we thought, yeah, 2 years is very long. Then Gunther got the first job. He was the first one to find a job. And we were so excited. And you know what? My grandfather always used to sing this song. In the good times, in the bad times, and even in the sad times, always praise the Lord. And that song became a reality to me. And even today, like I said, when we were singing the songs, I was like, why did Pastor Michael choose the songs now? Because I still have to talk and everyone. And I couldn't talk because I'm just reminded of God's faithfulness and what God has brought me through as a mother. And yes, we still have a long way to go with our kids, they are still young. But if God could do that for me and my husband, just the other day, I was 3 months finished with my probation. So both of us are working again. But we are still reminding our kids, remember, just a few months ago, there was nothing. So don't take life for granted. Don't take mommy and daddy for granted. Don't think we're going to be here forever, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. But what we can do is we can just continue to pray for our kids as mothers. That is our job, to pray. I've never prayed as much as I prayed since COVID happened. I was like always there reminding myself, yes, we're going through this tough time, but there's families going through much worse. Because we have God. So we're supposed to have everything. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to have all these things. And I always reminded my kids, yes, we didn't have a lot of food. Yes, we didn't have money coming in. We couldn't buy nice things for 2 years. We couldn't do anything for 2 years. We were stuck in the house. But God was so grateful. We are so grateful to God that He kept our health, because we lost our medical aid, we lost everything. He kept our health. Every day when I looked at my kids, I had to remind myself of the good things that are still there. I said, thank you, God, because imagine if this child must now be sick. I must go to the Westfield Hospital. Imagine we don't have food, we're struggling financially, and now we're still sitting with a sick child. During that 2 years, I always reminded them, guys, let's just say thank you to God now, because we still have our health, we still have each other, we still have love in our house, and we still have God. There's people that don't even have anyone, that don't even know that God exists. So who do they reach out to in their times of need? So just be reminded, I don't want to be too long, I was probably over my time. So just be reminded that when things are good, guys, when things are bad, even when you go through the most horrible trauma or sad times, there are always little ones watching us, even if you are not their mother, even if you are not their father. We need to be better role models for the young ones out there. We need to encourage them, and we need to bring them back to the Word of God. As tough as it is, and as much as the world is trying to grab them, we need to bring them back. Yes. But first we need to bring ourselves back. Yes. We need to be honest with ourselves, and we need to reflect, because we can't preach to our kids when our lives are not right. Because they don't do what we say, they do what we do. Yes. So we need to first reflect on ourselves, and we need to bring them back to God, but we need to bring ourselves back to God. So I just want to encourage you all of that. Thank you.